How goes it? I'm Pablo. Oh shit! There's money in my bank account. That's better. Life. It's like taking that first sip of orange juice. It really fucking hurts. But god damn it, it can be interesting sometimes. Life is full of a ton of possibilities. Whether it's fun or downright illegal, it doesn't matter. Do what you want. But I like to meet in the middle. So give me some money and... it's time to make bad financial decisions. One of my current hobbies is collecting. Whether it's video games, movies, collectibles, or trash, you never know what you're gonna get when you walk through those doors. It's one thing talking about the stuff you buy. It's another thing when you talk about how you got it. You see this quarter? I had to fight off an entire gang, jump off a bridge, make it back before the streetlights came on, and now I keep it right here just to remember the story. And for the video game in the street, this was the last copy, and I had to tackle a 10-year-old for it. I did what had to be done. Even though people can just buy their games on their consoles digitally, or just flat out emulate your games on PC. But now, games are getting super beefy to the point where you have to buy expanded storage for a Call of Duty title, and I'm too fucking stupid to emulate. I'm just now using all my fingers on my keyboard. So that's why I dabble in the world of physical games. It's been 2 years since I started religiously collecting games, but it all started way back when I looked at my small stack and thought, I want Wii Play. Nice. So by this point, all I had was just a job and extra space. That's why I started buying as many physical games as I could, in the best condition and at a relatively cheap price. I've always wanted to have a game collection, but every time mom would always say, I just got you that game, and dad just flat out wanted you to not touch those and find a girlfriend instead. To a certain extent, he was right, but fuck that, I want this! The only time I couldn't pick up a physical game was when it would release digitally or I got it on PC, and I'm not gonna trust the Switch or the PS4 to run Guardians of the Galaxy. So, usually after work I would walk over to my local gamers. It's just like any other game store, they sell pretty much every type of game, from retro games to modern games, but sadly after 15 long years, they closed down. And that's such a bummer because this is where I got the majority of my games when I started collecting. Sometimes the prices can be kind of expensive when you're gaming on a budget, but it's not my parents' money, it's my money. So one copy of Mario Kart Double Dash, please. But here's where we get to step number 1 of collecting. You could buy the game there and now, or you can keep looking and see if you can find it somewhere else at a cheaper price. For example, I bought Just Dance 4 on the Wii for $25 at a used game store 45 minutes from where I live. But the downside was, later that week I went downtown with my friends and I found the same game for only $8. That's a big fuck you to my wallet. Used game stores will always be a dice roll. You'll either get the best deal of your life, or outright scammed. Like, who the fuck would buy a Mario and Luigi title for $90? I'm not justifying that, I'm genuinely asking who. Now, if you don't want to go the mom and pop route, you can always go to stores like GameStop. They carry both new and used games. This is where I got the majority of my Wii U games, and a couple of my Switch games, not because they were cheap, but because they had pre-order bonuses. Though, most of their catalog isn't that good. A good majority of the stores are filled to the brim with pointless merchandise that doesn't even relate to video games. Sorry man, we don't sell any copies of Uncharted here, but we do have this Eren Yeager Funko Pop. I'll take it. But let's ignore all of that. You have the game in your hand, you're ready to buy it, but you look around the case and that's where we get to step number 2. The condition. Sure, you can always buy it new, but that's $60 compared to $20. Yeah, the case might scare everyone away, but that's a steal. Fucking worth it. Now, most of my games are used, mainly because I started collecting pretty late in life. 17 is reaching the fossil age. The only way I got most of these older games was through used game stores, aka I love sticky residue. Most used games are numbered as clean and new looking after being passed around a couple of times, and as soon as a kid who puts DS games like this, it's basically over. What the fuck, James? Now, it's not always the previous owner's fault that the game looks like this. Take for example my copy of Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and GTA 5. We bought them both brand new, and Black Ops 3 now looks like this. Because while I was moving, I stuck all my games in one drawer, and while unloading from my friend's car, the drawer fell out. What the fuck, John? In GTA 5, it's completely my fault. I made it fall for a bit, and it hit my nightstand, and now it looks like this. And on top of that, Splatoon 2 hit my fucking pinky toe, so fuck that game. Now that's just the mom and pop / corporation side of collecting. We haven't even talked about the internet. Buying video games online. How do you explain that to your parents? Look, I know this may sound like drugs, but really, it's the Sonic Classic Collection. Do drugs, fucking loser. You don't. Finding video games can be really hard. I drove 45 minutes for a copy of Super Paper Mario, so I get it. So that's where we have the internet to back us up. I use the big boys like eBay and Amazon. Amazon is more of the luxury site, and this is where I actually got my first Wii game ever. Mario Kart Wii. I bought it refurbished and it came in just like this. A clear plastic case, no box art, no manual, no nothing. And for the staggering price of $50, I should have kept that to myself. eBay is more of my territory. I've bought many things from eBay. A couple of Wii titles, a few handheld consoles, a lot of accessories, and a bunch of empty cases for my 3DS and DS games. I know buying stuff online isn't always liked by other collectors, mainly because it takes away the challenge of collecting and you're basically giving money to scalpers. But fuck you, man, I do what I want. I chose to pay $76 for a Mario and Sonic title because I think it's way better when the seller doesn't have to look at my face. And we can't forget my other reasons, empty game cases. Oh man. For a good chunk of my handheld days, I actually put all my games in one case and took it wherever I went. But there came a point where I missed this. I needed this. So I would buy empty game cases for my games so I can put them in a shelf. It may sound dumb, but I never spent 10 bucks for a game case. Who gives a fuck? This one had blood on it. And I know the other reasons people don't use the internet for games. Because there are scammers out there. A perfect example of this is my brother. He wanted a copy of Pokemon Platinum so bad, but every place that had it sold it for more than my Mario Odyssey Joy-Cons. So he bought a copy on eBay, popped it in, and there's a reason why it just sits here now. Minor setback, but let's move on to step 20 now. Free shit. Receiving video games for free. There's the standard gift giving, family gets you a game for the birthday or holidays, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who just flat out don't want their games anymore and give them away. Take for another example, my copy of Spider-Man on the PS4. One of the best open world single player games on the PS4 to date, and I got my copy from my buddy John. It was around 2020 after the announcement of Spider-Man Miles Morales. The gameplay looked amazing, but I wanted to play Spider-Man PS4 first before playing Miles Morales. So he offered me his copy of Spider-Man on the PS4, but there was only one little issue. There was no game case. But who the fuck cares? That's a free $60 game. I have eBay for a fucking reason. And to think I barely knew that guy, and now we're practically... anyways, remember James? How can I not? While he was moving, he told me he had a bunch of DS games he didn't want anymore. And a box copy of Hammy Goes Nuts. Fuck yes. This is basically the home for all my Game Boy games. But the DS, man, such quality titles. I now have both Cookie Mama games. There's a reason why this console sold more than 150 million units. All of them still work and are in great condition when you compare it to Sonic Racing on the DS. And that's a downright nightmare. The only thing that was downright nightmare inducing was the fact that some of the games had the game card in sideways. Who raised you? What went wrong where you put the game card in like this? It's almost impossible. I can't even recreate it. Seriously, what the fuck, James? But the takeaway here is, if someone offers you something for free, you take that shit. What do you think about my free gunshot wound? It's been about 2 years now since I started collecting, and I think I have all the games that I want. Now I want to try the games that I would actually like. Before, I never thought I'd play a Resident Evil title or even look at a Star Wars title. But now, both of those games actually turned out to be my games of the year. And with that, let me know what games I should try, or just tell me something crazy you did for a game. Everyone has done something wacky they'll always regret. I'll never tell you how I got Brain H2. And don't ask anyone else, because they're dead. There's always a lesson I want to include in these videos, so number 1, do what you want, and number 2, don't trust me with money. Now, let's talk about... ah, shit. You must be coming back for this.